Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Yes, I'm still awake and I'm still alive. It's been kind of a rough week, so I hope you guys are doing good. I was like very sleepy this week. Brain foggy, slept a lot. Don't know exactly what's going on. I've been very good about eating healthy and all that, so I can't really peg it on anything. It's just irritating when you're doing everything you think you can to be healthy and yet you are not feeling. I don't know if I'd say sick, but I was maybe for certain hours of certain days, but mostly it's just been like this brain fog where just like I'm sleeping feels so good, and when I'm awake, my brain's just not doing its job. So I actually did take a mild stimulant for this show, legal over the counter stuff, but I just was like, ugh. So I feel awake right now, but it's a little bit artificial, and unfortunately, caffeine doesn't work for me, so I can't rely on that. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. Let's see. I want to just check in some of the comments here. Oh yeah, the thumbnail. Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah, Shari, I hope so. Powerful lions get energies. I hope that's good, and I'll be awake again because I really just like it when my brain operates and I can keep my eyes open. Dun, da, 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 you might have reading. Think good thoughts. Yes, I know. Sometimes it's hard because it's like, yeah, it's hard to get, you get sucked into the moment, and and it works better if you try to look at the long goal and the good stuff. And as much as I'm whining, I still have a pretty good life, so it's really not the end of the world. Shari's the reverse. You couldn't sleep. Yeah, I haven't had any problems sleeping. I have problems staying awake. It's just weird. It's just like, okay, I sleep 8 hours. I feel pretty good. I get up, and then like 3 hours later, I'm like, I could really like a nap right now. And I have stuff I should be doing. What does caffeine do to me? Nothing. It tastes bad, and nothing happens. Like, I'm not awake. So, like, there's zero stimulant powers. So that's why, like, why bother? It's mildly addictive. Like, if I consume it a lot, I'll crave it a little, but it gives no benefits. So what's the point? And I don't actually care for the taste of coffee either. I imagine if it had some kind of stimulant power that gave me a good feeling, I might have over time developed the taste for it like most kids do. But since it doesn't do anything for me, to me it just tastes kind of bitter, and not to there's no benefits. I mean, it definitely would be convenient if I had something like I could kind of wake up a little. Although I do have to wonder, when you take a stimulant and it wakes you up, do you kind of pay for that later with like a down thing? I don't really find that with, I take ephedra, and I don't find that I drop later after. I just go back to baseline. So I don't think it's taking anything out of me. I do find that if I take it regularly, it will stop having an effect. So there is one reason why I try to minimize use, because it won't work if I do it regularly. So there's no way I'm going to be taking stimulants every day, because then I got to save them for when I got to have them. Let's just put it that way, because I can't be doing it all the time. Caffeine makes me sleepy lately, huh? I do like hot coffee, but it has to have a lot of cream and sugar. See, I'll just go for a cream and sugar drink then and skip the coffee part. Yep. I have like kind of hyper taste buds. So a lot of things just come in really strong for me, and bitterness is definitely one of those things. Like, people won't taste the bitter in things, but I will. Like, if it's mild, they won't taste it. I'll taste it. I'm like, this tastes kind of bitter. And then stuff that has a lot of bitter, it's like punching me in the head with awful bitterness. And caffeine or coffee is like that. It just tastes horribly bitter to me. There have been peculiar changes in history today. No doubt. There's this weird little Mandela I just spotted right before the show, that I have this sports bra that used to have patterns on inside outside. And it's one with extra straps and stuff, and I've only had it for a short while. Now I know I had another Mandela on another one of those, but this is a different one. And that one used to have two sides. Well, the pattern on the inside was not really supposed to be on the outside, but it was a good enough pattern to fool you into putting it on upside down occasionally. So I had kind of had to memorize, okay, this is the pattern that's the outside. Well, that pattern on the inside isn't there anymore. Now there's no confusion. So suddenly now I don't have to like get confused. So that was kind of interesting. And there's like this weird black line bar that wasn't there before. So basically the pattern has changed. But it's just kind of weird how those things are. Very dehydrated and low energy. Yes, I have noticed that. There's some weeks where like you just like water just isn't watery enough or something. You feel thirsty, drink. Yeah, there's not that feeling like, yes, water. I got a hair on my tongue. Speaking of the devil, it might be a hair from my... I get a hair. It's making me crazy. There, yes, there was a hair on it. It's probably a cat hair because I had it down on the ground. Yes, it's been a weird animal week too. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's doing its job, So you just keep drinking. I'm like, I'll keep drinking, but it's not really like working. Napoleon reinstated slavery. I don't even understand what that means. Didn't they have we still have slavery like in Africa and stuff, right? I've noticed that when you feel dehydrated and water doesn't help, it's because you need salt. I am not like stingy on the salt, frankly. I just can't believe that I would need salt when I put as much salt as I feel like on stuff. So I don't eat a lot of processed foods anymore because I don't do well with them, but I researched salt, and unless you have like a kidney problem, I just don't see any issues with salt. So I just put on as much as I like. And I don't have a high blood pressure problem, so it's like I salt to taste, basically. And it's interesting because some days I will really enjoy the salt and I'll be like whacking it on. And then there's other days where I put a little salt on and I'm like, oh, it's too salty. So I actually keep salt here. And when I eat in front of the computer, I will taste it and then decide if it needs salt. Because there'll be days when I will put 5 times more salt on than other days. All right. There's this weird, that weird image of Napoleon that we had on before. Everybody's like, what? Well, I was like, what? Okay, let's see. As France marks bicentenary of Napoleon Bonaparte, his role in reinstating slavery after it was abolished prompts a renewed look at his legacy. I haven't even heard of any of this stuff. I've never heard of him having. I don't remember it being abolished to start with. So him reinstating it. Original cause signed in reversed the abolition of slavery that had been declared 8 years previously in the wake of French Revolution. I don't remember there being a banishment of slavery in the French Revolution. It made France the only country to have brought back slavery after outlawing it. When they hear of Napoleon, people think of the great empire, France's many victories during the war. You'd think that we would have heard about this as a big hoo-ha deal when studying Napoleon, but I frankly have never heard of any of this business. Colonies and slaves to feed grand ambitions. I just don't remember there being any banishment of slavery way back then. I mean, how many countries had slavery this whole time, until very recently? I mean, you go in Africa and technically slavery is banished, but there's still like a huge ton of it in like Africa too. I mean, I guess you could say it's all black market, but if half of your economy is black market, then that's a lot of slavery. Yeah, I haven't. Oh yes, some Andon sent me $10. Thank you. I think those are actually American dollars too, so it's a goodly amount of dollars. So I appreciate it. Actually, haven't gotten any of that in a while. It has definitely been. Economy hasn't been very good lately, so I've definitely had to tighten down. They found a chip in his brain? Are you kidding me? They found a chip in Napoleon Bonaparte's brain? What kind of chip? This is this weird alien chip. Wait a minute now. A half-inch long microchip embed. What? This is Weekly World News. Those aren't weird people, are they? Half-inch long microchip embedded in his skull. Now, I mean, was this grown in? I mean, or did they just put it on there as a tracking device to track their acquisitions maybe in more recent time? Every indication has been that victims of alien abduction are ordinary people who play no role in world events. Now we have compelling... What? I thought Weekly World News was... Isn't it mainstream, or am I getting that wrong? From the extent of bone growth around the chip, the experts believe it was implanted when Bonaparte was young. Napoleon vanished from sight for a period of several days in July 1794 when he was 25. He later claimed he'd been held prisoner during the Thermidorian coup, but no record of that arrest exists. I believe that is when the abduction took place. From that time on, Napoleon's rise was meteoric. All right, I'm just looking to see what kind of headlines we got. Does your cat have it? Okay, wait, this is just all alien stuff? Weekly World News. Okay, is this a joke place? I think this is a joke place. Weekly World News, the world's only real... This must be a joke news. Okay. This is not real news, though. Not... Are you guys messing with me? Thanks, Andon, for $5 more. Yes. My car clock randomly went back to 12/12/2012. Oh, interesting. Economy going down the drain everywhere. Yes, unfortunately, if you sell online, it's gonna... And I don't sell like necessities, so I definitely get hit harder, and unfortunately my costs have gone up quite a bit. Everybody's has, but I had to move to a more expensive location, and everything else has gone up. And I heard about the chip last week, but the news is from at least 2012. I don't know, do we have okay, Weekly World News is like the National Enquirer, looks like. So we're going to have to see that information on some kind of mainstream stuff. Because as much as I don't trust the mainstream that much, I do trust it a little bit more than, those tabloids. Because they'll just make up anything. Just literally anything. The tabloids here, before we had really good... Photoshop, man, they used to airbrush the photos, and they were so bad at it that it was obvious. They didn't even hire good quality artists, so you're like, that is so obviously airbrushed. I kind of miss those days, because you could just look at something and know right away that it was fake. Now, they're so much better at faking it, you can't just see it. All right, so we got that. All right, so I was just going to go through. I actually didn't have like a ton of Mandelas, but there's been a lot of just kind of somewhat interesting stuff coming through Reddit. And some of them are kind of like advanced info on like old ones. And this one was interesting because it's basically they're talking about the dark blue ice that in my old timeline the glaciers are just white, but now they have this crystal blue ice underneath them, and they'll flip over, and then you'll have this beautiful, amazing ice, which wasn't the case before. But this one is really interesting, and just more and more video of some of this stuff is starting to hit Reddit now. So this is basically going to show that this glacier is collapsing and flipping. So I don't know, but you can kind of see a little bit of it. Now this whole chunk is going to flip over. So it was quite a long time ago when they started talking about how icebergs and glaciers and stuff are way bigger on the bottom and only a little bit sticking out. But now they could use that by saying, okay, now it flips over and 90% of the bottom is different looking. So it's flipping over now. But you can kind of see how much is it's coming out. I don't want to play it all the way through because I might get the magic copyright strike. But check it out. So now you got this not just kind of blue, now it's screaming blue. So I feel like it's kind of upgraded its bluiness as part of the reason I'm having it. So you can see now this is turquoise. This is like deep sky blue. And kind of sucks that they don't show the whole thing, but maybe that hasn't been developed yet, and they'll be like purple on the end by the time this video adds the end piece. But I definitely have noticed the sky too. The last couple weeks just looks brighter. Like it had, for me, the sky blue like 20-30 years was more of a turquoise tone. And this video kind of reminds me of it too, because I think sky blue for me was more like this middle area of this ice. And then it turned into like this navy color that was kind of dull. And it has been that way for a number of years now. And then we sort of got this weird mist sheet that was almost always way up in the upper atmosphere, even above the normal clouds. Now, I didn't used to have so many levels of clouds. The clouds would pick a level and they'd all be at it. But then we had this mist at the top, but yet other clouds below. And that kind of hid the color of the sky for a number of years. And now lately, I can see the sky again really clearly on a lot of days, but it's much brighter than it was. Like it's a much brighter, instead of being kind of like this blue here, it's got way more pop. So it's like, it's just got way more intensity of color. So I kind of, lately when I go out, I'm like, it looks like somebody has turned up the intensity on the color or something. And then as somebody else noted, I don't know, was it on here or it was on Recon, there's been a lot more of the old puffy clouds back, but they're still low. But it just adds to the surreal feel, definitely. So this is one of the videos I just saved that I've been finding on the internet. And here's another one. I've covered this also before, but so during the pandemic, they were like, oh, animals are sneaking into the villages and homes because everybody's locked up in their house. And I'm like, really, these like podunk cities in the middle of nowhere, are they really following the pandemic? Lockups, it seemed unlikely. So I was always suspicious that was kind of a hoo-ha, but we just keep seeing more and more. So here's this rhino just decided to like stroll down the streets in Nepal, I guess, like, I don't know, they know the traffic laws or something. They're not like killing anybody. Of course, the rhinos themselves look more and more like actual armored vehicles than they ever did. For me, they didn't have this armored look on them. They just look like big animals, but now they have actual armor. So this guy he's like bopping down the street. He's not anybody's pet rhino anywhere. He's not trying to like ram anybody. He's not hitting any cars. He's just bopping down the street, bop-a-doo-bop. He's not even like scared and panicky. He's just strolling along. I think there were people around too. Yeah, yeah. See, I think there's somebody right there. Yeah, there's two people right here. They're just standing there watching them. They should be running for their lives, right? I certainly would be. They're not even hiding behind anything. This guy's just going for a little stroll like he's a car. I mean, like, this guy's gonna drive the other way. I mean, like, what surreal world is this that these people aren't even worried? I mean, rhinos were always known to be extremely dangerous and violent, and yet everybody's just bopping along. I guess Nepalese rhinos are chill now in the current timeline or something, but it's just surreal. These guys just think it's funny. I mean, like, really? You're just gonna drive by a wild rhino on your moped and assume he's gonna keep going? Like, okay, people, that wasn't the rhinos of my timeline. All right, let's see what you guys are up to. Now that my UFO committee proved in congressional hearings last week that ATs are real, the more top secret. Yeah, oh, that is a good point, Renee. I probably should have put some of that on. So the first congressional blah that came out was so incredibly boring that it was like hours of nothing speak, that I kind of didn't hold a lot of hope out for this one. But apparently it was quite interesting. They're basically were saying that, yes, there's UFOs. They seem to be moving in impossible ways. We have crashed UFOs in our possession. All this apparently has been said at this congressional meeting, like, all the science fiction-y stuff. Now they're still saying, like, they're not saying, okay, there's like a Star Trek universe where we're making deals with aliens, right? They haven't gone that far. But it is definitely like a huge, massive leap from like attitudes of just a few years ago. So, I know that's going to be a big question of, is this like, is this a psyop, or was the old thing a psyop? If the old thing is a psyop, where they said there was nothing, then why change now? Is it disclosure? If it's disclosure, why disclosure now? I don't know. That reality is a weird place, and so it may be that we've just gotten to the point where we're willing to have this knowledge, and that's why we're getting it. You want life to be interesting, I guess. I don't feel like I'm gonna, I think 20 years ago I would have been so excited about all this, but now I'm sort of like, I'm not gonna feel satisfied until I can have a chit chat with an alien, or at least see one out in the street or something, so I can say, yes, those are real, and it is not just another storyline on the internet reality screen, So, I mean, is there really otherly consciousnesses that are arriving here that can be spoken with, whose brains actually operate differently than ours? Or is it just story, but then how much of reality is all story? So that's why I'm like, I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of skeptical. Now the illegal black projects are going to push back. The U.S. Fed government MIBs ain't going to give the... See, I don't think so. I think there may be some storyline like that there's going to be pushback or no-ahs, but I think that is the way reality is moving, that this story is now going to be on the front screen, and we're definitely seeing even mainstream news covering this, which is a very strong sign that it will be main screen. Yeah, maybe I should call it that. Instead of mainstream, it's main screen. This is going to be one of the main storylines of the next bunch of years. So they're going to, it's going to get more and more coughed up. I don't know how far it is going. Again, a lot of people suspect maybe there'll be some kind of fake, stuff in the sky, or maybe the stuff in the sky is real, but it's not what they say it is, or, yeah, but if there is a sub story that this could all be fake, wouldn't it make it easier for some people to accept, like, they don't believe in UFOs, it's too weird, but they can believe in fake government BS, right? So that may be one of the ways that it can come into reality. But if it comes into reality, again, my main question is, are these really, consciousnesses that have a different processing system? And that I don't know how to know so easily. Have you heard of Tesla's egg of Columbus? No, I have never heard of Tesla's egg of Columbus. The Tesla stuff just never stops, does it? Tesla's egg of Columbus was a device exhibited in the Westinghouse Electric Display in 1893 of Chicago to explain the rotating magnetic field that drove the new alternating current induction motors designed by Nikola Tesla by using the magnetic field to spin a copper egg on end. Tesla's egg of Columbus. Well, I'm just writing it down. It sounds kind of cool. I don't know. I really can't use my brain today, even with the stimulant. It is definitely. I am definitely finding that I just like my I'm alert now, but my logical mind is not working well. Like anytime something gets too complicated, I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know. And that's kind of how I am right now. I'm not processing complicated intellectual stuff well at all. And that definitely has been a kind of trend with the shifts, I might add. I notice it in everybody. So I will probably get some of this back. I will probably get some of my intellectual brain back, but I don't know if I'll get all of it, because I'm going to have to, I might have to kind of really fight to get it back. And I just noticed that that's kind of how we're going, less intellectual and more emotional. So maybe that's why we're seeing a lot of emotional outbursts. So, I've thought about it. I'm like, well, the intellectual path has led us to be very talented at inventing things, but not very empathic and caring about our fellow man. So it may be that this, at least for a while, has to be the direction humanity goes to maybe improve itself. As much as it has been also rocky, there may be a reason for it. I like my intellectual mind, so give it back. Okay, MIBs are the best at hiding top secrets for over 66 years. Yeah, and I don't buy that somebody's just broken out and barfed up the info and got away with it now. I mean, it's happening because it's meant to be happening now. That's my opinion anyway. I mean, obviously everything I say is my opinion. I can't prove much of it. Illegal UFO black budget projects are freaking giving up all the Area 51 and Dulce Beach Arculeta Mesa without a fight. Super ready and vigilant. Yeah, well, I hope it's interesting at least. I don't want to be bored. This is an example of Project Bluebeam. All the history of these projects have changed so much. Okay, I'll see if Twitter will come up. I have never gotten Twitter to operate properly on this computer. I can't log in on this computer. But I can usually link to what in the hell? Dubai's got so much cool stuff Iranians. Okay, I don't get how that's Premium Hotel Dubai made a CGI video of a steam train running between the buildings. Oh, okay. I thought it was real because Dubai's always got a bunch of crazy ass crap in it. Like, I bought it. I really did. I am so used to seeing crazy, wild, visually appealing stuff coming out of places like Dubai. It's sort of like Las Vegas, you know, where they have that giant eye thing that is even more crazy than this. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, yep, that's Dubai. I guess, you know, the reality is breaking me in. So I guess this is all fake then. This is a CGI video. Okay, so this is interesting because she's on here. Now, I think if we zoom in on her, we might see that... Wait a minute. I want to turn off this sound. It's probably irritating. I'm going to bet that her camera doesn't show the trains. So she's holding it up, and she just sees two buildings on her camera. I'm pretty sure they were too late. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I bet they were too lazy to put it onto her cell phone. So it just adds realism to it that somebody is videoing something, because you only video something if it's interesting, right? You don't just video two boring buildings. Probably not anyway. But this is a nice touch, having somebody show it. Okay, so Project Bluebeam. Okay, I don't remember exactly which one that is. I mean, I've said before that CGI video is next level these days, and you can barely tell what's fake and what's real. And there's a very good example of it right there. Now, if that was a little bit less wild than that, you would have never even doubted it. Are Western schools still teaching that Sumeria was the first advanced civilization on Earth? Who knows? I don't know what they're teaching. I haven't been in there in a long time. I do know that storyline keeps going back, but you know, the history keeps changing. We've seen the history of Egypt totally different. Example of Tesla's egg, of Columbus. Okay, so this is probably it operating.
Hey everyone.
All right, I'm gonna put on too much of the yapping. Again, it might be copyrighted. Are we gonna have full screen here, guys, or what? Full, I guess that is full screen. Okay, let's jump ahead. Okay, so it just kind of, okay, so there's electric, no, wait, how is it? EM Fields doing that? This device called a phi top, an aluminum ellipsoid that has some neat physics. It raises center of gravity when spun. It can be stopped by creating eddy currents with magnet or spun with a magnet. This is the same procedure that Tesla applied to copper egg in his famous Columbus egg demonstration. Never even freaking heard of. Everything's famous here. I've never heard of it. Also, when light is reflected off the spinning ellipsoid, it exhibits Lysageous curves. I don't know anything in this reality. It all sounds like crazy bullshit. Okay. Lysageous curves. Yeah, no, I don't know what this thing is. Okay.
That means if I had a table...
Stop talking. Well, who's doing the camera work on this thing? Like, put the camera on the egg, people. All right, like I said, I can't like play this whole thing because there's going to be copyrights. But it's Tesla's egg of Columbus dash the gelatinous solid. Okay. Just don't ask me anything that's too intellectual today. It's not going well. If I'm lucky, then I'll figure out how to shrink this thing. Let's try escape. There, that helps. Let's see. You think Dubai is weird? I don't think Dubai is the only weird place. Check out Kazakhstan and Kiribati. Now, I've seen some nice buildings there, but when it comes to just off-the-wall stuff, it's China, certain Muslim areas like Dubai, where it's sort of touristy, and then, of course, Las Vegas. Oh, and Japan. Let's not leave off Japan. Project Blue Beam is when they can show a hologram in midair that's the size of a planet. Okay, yeah, I thought it was that. So CGI is not Blue Beam, because Blue Beam you'd actually be, I would like walk outside and look up in the sky and see it. I wouldn't be looking at it like a video on a screen. But yeah. I do think we're in for some interesting stuff, because now like they can make anything look real and put it on the internet. And I think that that is going to be a seed for putting it into reality. So we're basically speeding up this process here. This is my guess. Every day is a surprise. I don't remember Pee Wee Herman being arrested for child porn as he was in this reality. Okay. First of all, I'm pretty sure even in this reality, he was not arrested for child porn. He was, and I just looked this up. I actually, there's a whole tie-in is why I know a little bit about Pee Wee Herman thing. I do remember him being arrested, and it was for public indecency. Now, what I remember him being arrested, he was in a bathroom. And I always thought it was a little weird, but I guess he didn't shut the door or something. I don't know, but basically he was in a bathroom, you know, how do you say it nicely, pleasuring himself. I didn't really think it was like the crime of the century, but you know, it's the old days, and now they'd probably just say stop it and storm out or something. But back in the day, it would make sense that you get arrested if you did something like that. Okay, so he was looking at, apparently, what I recall him doing was that he was looking at a magazine of a certain person, and I have known this person in the past. So this person, I didn't know that she was that one at first. I knew her through a friend, like she was a friend of a friend, but I was over at their house. I got served food from them, and then later I found out that she was the famous porn star in that magazine. Okay, so when I was just looking at it now, though, apparently he was watching a video of porn and was doing the same thing, and it was in a movie theater, and several people apparently were doing. So he went to an adult movie theater and was like showing indiscretion, you know, not really trying to make a big show out of it, but he got caught. Well, that whole thing is weird to me, because I'm like, really, they're sneaking into adult movie theaters and catching people with their hand in their pants, you know. So that's the story I just read like a couple days ago. So assuming it hasn't changed again, that is a Mandela for me. I am quite sure he was in the bathroom with a magazine. I am positive, because I knew that woman and I looked into that story. So the whole thing is extra weird for me, because just the idea that I would meet the woman that was in the magazine and not know it, and all this is also strange enough, you know. And you start to really look at reality when, like, what are the odds, you know? So I do feel like there's a big Mandela associated with Pee Wee. And then, of course, his name was Pee Wee. You know, I mean, it's just like reality's trolling us again. Let's not leave off Japan. Yes, I think I did slide that in even before I read your thing. Yes. You know, and I mean, I'm not saying it in a mean way. I do think it just kind of makes life more interesting, all this wacky stuff. I like it. You know, I mean, maybe I ended up in the wacky timeline because I just like the wacky and I don't want to be bored. So maybe it's my fault I'm here. I don't know. Yeah, Pee Wee died a few days ago, and I saw that the story had changed, so that's why I looked back on it. Japan looks like a dragon. Yeah, it didn't used to. I have said multiple times that, and it wasn't even me who noticed, frankly. I can't take credit for noticing Japan look like a dragon, and it wasn't me who first noticed that China looks like a chicken. Now I'm waiting to see what America ends up looking like, because it's definitely shifting. I remember Pee-wee arrested at a cinema with two of his friends at a porn theater. Yeah, that sounds like about what we got now. Pee-wee was in a strip club. Yeah, no, he was in a theater now. Or at least he was 2 days ago. He was in a theater, not a strip club. God, you know, the strip club might be right, but it was like the bathroom though. I'm sure it was the bathroom, but I'm trying to think it was a bathroom of, and I'm really not sure. It could have been a strip club. I just remember it was the bathroom, but like the bathroom of where? Child porn was 10 years later. I don't know. I think I remember him getting the child porn thing. And that would even be kind of weird because people who like child porn don't usually like adults. And I'm going to have to make sure that it was still her in the that he was looking at, but she was definitely an adult and she didn't look like a child. She's not one of those adults that looks like a child, you know. She looks like an adult. I mean, she definitely looks like she's 18. She's got all the adult endowments and stuff. So even that's kind of weird if you don't get off on one and then the other usually is my, I mean, I'm not like the total child porn expert, but I was, a psychology major, and at least that wasn't the case back then. Turned himself into the police the following year. Why didn't they just arrest him? Was he like hiding for a year? The misdemeanor charge was dropped after Rubens pleaded guilty. So I'm going to assume then that it was just turning through the court system for a year. I don't remember Pee-wee being involved in child porn, actually. It was just, back in the day, even just being like an adult, I mean, like what he was doing in the bathroom, I mean, you really shouldn't do it in public, but he just was in the bathroom, so it was like, heaven forbid that, this child star, like a star that does comedy for children, actually is a man, so I didn't think it was that big a deal at the time. Now, so I don't know about the child porn stuff. I have not heard of that, so I don't have a comment on it. I think because Audie would be arrested at a porn theater. Well, I don't know. That's a brand new story for me. That didn't even happen. But yeah, I do think it's weird. I think there was something about other people in there also arrested. I mean, what kind of porn theater is gonna yeah, I don't know. That's all weird. Japan used to be more vertical shaped. The southern half is crumbly. It's got more islands and stuff. And yeah, it's all jaggedy. The islands used to be more just rounded off edges, and there was less of them. Anyone remember Pete Townsend from The Who being arrested for child porn? No. There's so much more child porn now. Wait, Eva knows a famous porn star. Well, she was only I knew her decades after she had a brief career as a porn star. And when I met her, and for a while that I knew her, I did not know she had previously been a porn star until somebody finally told me. I probably would have never known, frankly, if someone had not informed me. But she had not done it for a long time. She actually ended up... So how did I meet her? She got involved... Well, her boyfriend at the time and her, both of them got involved in the woo community, so like remote viewing and out of body travel and stuff like that, and that's how I met them, through that community. So yeah, she was long retired as a porn star. When I met her, I mean, she was still really good looking though. I think now it's been another 10-15 years, so I don't know now, but I remember a kid in high school remarking how Japan looks like a dragon. Yeah, you're from a more recent timeline than me, definitely. Was George Michaels playing with himself? It was George Michaels? I don't know anything about George Michaels. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I never heard about the child porn. Yeah, no. There wasn't that much child porn in my old timeline, like way back. There just wasn't. It was very rare. And it was just like rare weirdo people that you never heard of. Pee-wee said it was vintage porn. Age of models may or may not have been 18. Porn was as old. Yeah, I'm kind of like, some of these girls, they're 16, they look like they're 18. When they're starting to look like an adult, I don't really feel that's a pedophile. And if they don't know that that person is 16, I'm kind of like, just, I don't really think you should go after people for that. There's a random image that shows up. They look like they're an adult. There's a point where somebody is past puberty and looks like an adult. And I think it's normal for men to be attracted to those. Now, ethically, if you know that they're pretty young still, then you should at least not, partake, especially if they're live, like there's a real person. But that natural instinct is going to be there if they look like an adult. So I don't consider that a pedophile. If that natural instinct is there, obviously shows some self-control, but I was listening to a YouTuber and he said, Hollywood is empty. There are loads of homes and mansions for sale and nobody famous is there anymore. Well, a lot of that area, so I used to live in LA. Hollywood has always been kind of a dump. I mean, like right officially where the sign was always kind of seedy. And it's definitely one of those places that's kind of a letdown if you went there to see it. Now, I went there to go to college, and I was just in the area, so we would go there a couple times, and I'm like, So we did have a few times we would drive through Beverly Hills. Now, Beverly Hills has beautiful homes, and I wasn't so into the superstars and stuff, so I really didn't really care, like, oh, so-and-so famous person lives behind that gate, 5 bajillion feet behind 500 trees or whatever. I don't care. But the homes were beautiful, so it's just like looking at beautiful homes, right? And, I'm sure that they're nothing compared to what you would see in like England or something. But for America, it was a pretty nice area and it was beautiful. So we did that once or twice. But I would say that area is beautiful. So Hollywood, I've heard for a while, there's tent cities and homeless, and crime is way up, and drug users and crazy people all over. So yeah, I'm sure, and as I've heard, businesses are leaving. Nobody wants to go there. It's dangerous and scary. I mean, like I said, it's been seedy for decades. So, but before it was just like daytime's okay and it's a little seedy, but now it's gotten to now it's a lot of seedy. So is Beverly Hills empty? I'm sure the cops keep a better watch on that area. Vintage porn was good by comparison. I stopped looking at porn after about age 25. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as a woman, I'm not really into porn that much, so. There's now a bipolar fan made by Edison that worked with batteries he made in 1892. A bipolar fan. What's a bipolar fan? Bipolar. So I'm assuming it's some kind of EM field pulse thing, but yeah, batteries back in time. This is the first history of a household fan that worked on electric current. Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, made by Edison, huh? Nice. So what charges it, though? I'm a little confused. Where does the power come? The battery, through heavy and uncomfortable, only worked for 125 hours, after which all internal components had to be replaced. Okay. Styling, though. They put a lot of effort into the fancy. This kind of goes back to that saltwater light thing that we had on. I am not, I looked into that. Who brought that up last week? Was it Shari? So they have this, basically you can take like a cup and you put salt water in it, and then it works. There's some circuitry built into the cup that causes the salt water to work like a battery. So supposedly it can light this LED light for like a month on the bottom just by plopping salt water in there. I'm not convinced that that tech was possible in the past. I suspect that physics has changed enough to make batteries more efficient now. And I've said before that one thing that's holding back society is that we can't store power very well. If we get that improvement, then there's going to be some major upgrades. So we've done a good job of shrinking down power needs for like computers and stuff, but we do need to have a better power storage. I was shocked to see how close they are now. Japan is so huge. Yeah, I don't know if it's Japan's bigger or the rest of the area has shrunk, but it definitely looks big in comparison to the land masses next to it. Antiquefanparts.com. Edison. Bipolar electric fan. Okay, that would be this is a little bit more like I would expect a new invention to look like, you know, less fancy. And very rare, 1897 Edison's Paris bipolar fan. So there's a bunch of these damn things. Since French law required that any inventions patented in France must also be manufactured there, Edison had this sent to his closest associate. What? That I've never even heard of that. That's weird. So what, you can't patent anything in France unless you manufacture it there? Back then? That seems weird. This is the only surviving example, very unique and almost square in design. I'm assuming this is the only example of this precise style. So it's not that effective if you could only run it, what's 125 hours? I mean, that's not that long. Then again, I don't know how much hassle it is to replace all the innards. Okay, where's the battery on this? I see like a motor. So the battery is maybe in here? Yeah, it must be in here because... So you take this motor off and you'd have to replace the center battery. So then the motor should work. Heck, it might... Some of these old motors, it could be even working now or just need minor repair. Those old motors, man, they'll just work for like ever. Professionally restored 1897 Western Electric bipolar DC desk. So there's tons of these effing things. Well, okay, 28,000, but this one's only 6,000. Bipolar fans. Okay, so there's a ton of these. This one's only 6,000. That's very interesting. So bipolar fans, I'm putting that on here. Bipolar electric fans. Crazy town. I've never heard of bipolar fans. At least now I'll know if I see one of those things what it is. Sometimes I do find stuff like that, you know, because I go to thrift stores and stuff. Although lately they've been so picked over, it's like, why even go? Japan had worked hard to filter factories and have extra clean air, and now people are getting asthma from being so close to China. I don't know. I mean, the asthma stuff, they've been trying to pin down what that is for eons. Some places say that the reason that there's excess allergies is because of lack of exposure to contaminants, so that you have your immune system is not trained. So you actually should have more exposure to dirt as a child so that your immune system is trained. Others feel that it's all the chemicals and like unnatural things that are in the food supply, which continues to get worse. It could be just all the unnatural seed oils, lack of nutrients, who knows what all, you know, arm pokities, toxins. There's so many possible explanations. You know, I think I've said before, I got rid of most of my allergies when I stopped eating wheat. So I didn't show an allergy to wheat, but somehow wheat was like damaging my immune function. So no more asthma for me, no more cat allergies, like it's gone. I can like, now I have my cat, I can stick my face in his fur, no problems. That would have been a problem before. So I don't know, but obviously everybody that gives up wheat doesn't have the same response, but it's complicated. Maybe I was just ready to not have asthma. I don't know. Maybe I just evolved enough to not have asthma and now I have brain fog instead. Which is worse. I don't know. The problem has moved from here to here. Now, if I can just shove it off the top, maybe I'll be all right. I wouldn't trust any map, any arrow, any timeline. It all changes, It's like a giant salad bowl that gets tossed. If a song lyric changes, but you find a cover version of the song with the lyrics you remember from your timeline, would you still consider it a Mandela? Well, here's the thing. I really didn't have money, so I didn't buy albums and stuff. So if they can't show that that was played on the radio, then I know it's a Mandela, because I didn't get the album and hear the covers version. It didn't happen in my timeline. I did not do that. So there's no way I could have heard it from the album and got confused. So whatever they claim was played on the radio, that's what I heard. Need Input said the pollution was visible from China. That wasn't there before. It shifted. So I've had this on before. Now like Africa will have a big dust storm and it'll blow all the way to Europe or all the way to California or something. That never happened before. So regardless of whether Japan got a smidgy closer, that crap blows all like halfway around the earth now. So even if Japan was still out more in the ocean, they could easily get it. So that, I feel, is just a change in the way, again, physics works on the earth, that stuff is even possible. But it allows for more weird crap, and it seems like a lot of the changes just allow for more weird crap. It allows for blood red suns and moons and all these weird colors, and the sky is turning purple and this and that and that, and it's allowing for weird. So that's the name of the game in this timeline. It's Weird Lands. I stopped getting allergies after I had many shots in the back muscles at the doctor around 1979. Huh. So was it kind of some muscle relaxers, or maybe it was some chiropractic thing? I've heard people say they got a chiropractic treatment and weird problems went away. So, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but maybe it's just like when your time comes and your energy shifts, you are done with that problem. But since our brains can't accept that stuff magically goes away, we need like an excuse. I've sometimes wondered about that, because if there were like 5 things you could do that would clear up most allergies, wouldn't that spread around? Like, okay, I'm going to give up wheat. If that doesn't work, I'm going to the chiropractor. If that doesn't work, I'm going to, but there's no commonality in what causes it and what gets rid of it and how it operates. So, I've told a lot of people I gave up wheat and my asthma went away. Well, granted, not many people are willing to give up wheat. I don't know what's so magical about wheat that you can't skip it for a week, but people just are like, oh no, I can't. And I was like that too. Wheat's addictive. I didn't want to give it up. I craved it, but hey, why not? Challenge yourself for a week. Worst can happen, nothing, and then you can go eat it again. Edison was the first person who used sexting. He taught his second fiance how to communicate in Morse code so they could tap private messages while in the presence of her parents. Yeah, I think I just heard that too. Just heard that same story. Oh, yeah, we'll have to get to that thumbnail. Edison made talking dolls. Edison made talking dolls. Okay. Why is it Edison does all the creepy stuff? Is Edison still the bad guy who stole all his stuff from other people? Talking dolls. I found one cover on YouTube that has the exact lyrics I remember. The lyrics are too different to be, but just make it. I have not ever seen my lyrics come back on anything. Okay, so we're going back to the saved. Okay, we did the rhino. We got off on some other stuff. Tesla's egg. Bipolar fans. Maybe I'll find one of those bipolar fans and I can sell it for $6,000. That would help out with the money situation. Puzzle for scientists. Oh, this one was just, this is kind of a Tartaria of interest one that I found. And I do know people who lived in Illinois. A puzzle for scientists was found in Shelbyville, Illinois, USA. I guess I have to click on the post. The town was founded in 1827, which is very recent by historical standards. How did the city end up 4 to 5 meters in the ground is a mystery. So apparently there's a whole another layer of the city. Now a meter is like 3 feet, so that's like 12 to 15 feet underground. So there's like a whole nother story, like a tall story of like they're basically, these buildings happen to have a giant bottom to them. Kind of reminds me of those Easter Island statues where like, oh, well, they're heads, but there's a whole body underneath there. So that's what happened in these towns, is there's a whole another giant layer, sometimes 3 layers. So I guess the whole town now is 4 to 5 meters. Let's see. So 12 to 15 feet underground seems a little strange. So like, I mean, if the town's 100 years old, say, I mean, like, if dirt gets on your porch, don't you just like sweep it away? You don't just let it build up and then go, oh, let's just abandon the whole bottom. I mean, every now and then maybe you would sweep it into a wheelbarrow and drag it out of the town or something. If there's a flood, don't you just like get sweepers to sweep that stuff down the street and into a ditch somewhere? You don't just abandon the whole town to 12, you know. So there should be a story why this is all built up. It's very, very fishy. All right. Okay, that one, this one. We're almost to the thumbnail. It comes after this one. This one was so creepy. I think this is real. It's so hard to tell now because of CGI and all. Is this bug? So this is a bug from Laverton, Western Australia. So I'm tempted to say, first of all, that the quality is fairly decent, and the person was so stupid as to put the writing on top of the animal, because apparently they don't know how to make video by putting relevant info below the thing. So I'm less likely to say this is totally fake. You never really can tell. And a lot of stuff does show up like this, where it's like some weird thing shows up out of nowhere and then later it gets a name and stuff. So this is some creepy bug. It looks like it's pretty big bug thingy. We haven't had any creepy bugs in like weeks. And it does creepy stuff like this. It's just like, what is that bug? I don't know. That's all it does in the whole video, though. I just thought I'd have it on there because that might show up again in the future. Most people are just complaining why put the text over the top. Yeah, I have to agree, but you can still see it's some creepy bug. Okay, so we've had this story on before, but there has been a shift in the story. So hairy tongues, like when hair grows on your tongue. Now, when this story first showed up, I had it. It was a little while ago. maybe a few years, a year, a couple years. But when it first showed up, they said like fungus could grow on your tongue. Like say your immune system's down, you took antibiotics, you're on prednisone or something, and your immune system's down, and so fungus got going on your tongue. So then they would have like medications that were like antifungals. So I thought it was a Mandela when that showed up because I'm sorry, hairy tongues. We should know about that. But the story has shifted. So this came, and so he's got a hairy tongue, but this is not fungus now. This is not fungus. And it's not just black. You can have pink, green, or black hairs on your tongue. They're not hairs, but they're not fungus. They're actually you. So the new story now is that it's, this is why I'm freaking out, because it starts as fungus. That's a little believable. Sorry, it is gross, but it is now, they are now saying that, get to it, it is filiform papillae, and that's a part of your tongue that you have papillae, I think it is papillae, filiform papillae on your tongue, like bumps on your tongue. That's normal. But these bumps grow. And if they grow too long without shedding properly, then they grow into hair-like structures. So this is actually your papillae. And if they don't shed, they can get 18 millimeters long and look like hairs. Now, 18 millimeters, you know, for non-millimeter people, it's about that long. It's a little more than a half inch. It's like that long. So can you imagine having hairs, papillae, that long on your tongue? Okay, they get 18 millimeters. They're also saying this is common. And they're saying 18% of people will experience hairy tongue in their lifetime. They're saying it's not that dangerous. You don't really need to see a doctor right away, but you should just so things that could cause it is kind of like all this stuff. I feel like they've just thrown crap at the wall at this point. Antibiotics could cause it. Low immunity could cause it. Well, why would antibiotics cause your papillae to grow long? Like, I could see why it would cause fungus to get going, but why would it cause papillae to grow long? Then they're saying, well, if you eat too many soft foods, that could cause it because you need to have your tongue abraded and break off and shed these papillae. Like, I never even heard of papillae shedding. Like, what sheds on your tongue? So they're like, okay, then brush your tongue. You can get a tongue scraper to groom your papillae if this happens, and brush. I mean, come on. I don't have to this is ridiculous. I'm sorry. So that's the thumbnail. It's somebody with a ton of black papillae, and then they're like, okay, then fungus or say you eat a bunch of candies that are purple, it can dye the papillae purple. There's no saying why this is bright green. I could kind of see it turning black, but there's all these colors, and I'm like, this story keeps changing, and there's all these colors, and I'm like, it's all creepy. It's all creepy. So hairy tongue, it's a thing. It's harmless. Oh, smoking was another one. Thanks for reminding me, minimal. Smoking can cause hairy tongue. So I thought it was that man thing that Pee-wee got caught on. Now, I swear to God, they used to say that caused hairy palms, not tongue. But I'm wondering if that's going to change. Maybe you will get hairy palms. And of course, it was a complete old wives' tale, but who knows? Tesla history isn't the same. Now it keeps expanding. He did more and more stuff now. So they are not night. I don't even know what night crawlers are with a K. I mean, night crawlers without the K is big worms for me. I don't know any other bug that's those. The French kiss is a hairy tongue. I've never heard of that. I wouldn't be surprised. Quit cold turkey. I just thought a French kiss was you used tongue. That's my knowledge of the meaning of it. I don't know if that's changed or not. Okay, so that's the creepy thumbnail. I think I got everything. This one's, oh, okay. These are ones I've just been saving because they're all creepy. I don't think I've covered. Maybe I can add some more. This one is kind of icky. We've had the seagulls eating weird stuff. Apparently they just guzzle down everything. Now they didn't have a big enough mouth for me. Like the throat wasn't big enough for them to swallow really large things. Yes, granted they would eat everything, but like they could eat like maybe a big bite of burger or some fries. They couldn't eat a whole squirrel in my old timeline. I think I had one on where they were eating a rabbit. I don't know if the squirrel is alive or dead because the video doesn't really show you. But, so he can eat a whole squirrel. I mean, the squirrel's almost as big as he is. I think I didn't have that on last time because, well, we were busy and it's gross. And I've kind of had that on. I've had quantum locking on, but now that you have this weird Tesla business, I wanted to have it on again. This was on years ago. I didn't expand that last one because it's already kind of icky. But quantum locking is bizarre. And my intellectual mind is not functioning enough to... I was even having trouble with this before, but apparently via quantum locking, which you can... Stuff is like frozen in place against gravity and stuff. So I'm like, okay, so this is going to be the tech for our new spaceships or something. I don't know. I don't know, but this is definitely weird. It's been on though. Quantum locking. This kind of thing has been shown on here. It's all coming, it's all barfing back up onto Reddit lately. And this thing, I think this thing has gotten uglier too. I think, was this the one? I'm not sure if I even looked at this one earlier. Basically, I just see weird stuff and then I just save it. I mean, what is this effing thing? This, okay. That looks like face huggers or something. It's eel goby. Eel goby. Look at that. What is that? I mean, ew. So I think there's a handful of eel gobies or something. They're using an old crab claw. So this one, I think this one showed up years ago and it was like on the plate at a dinner and they poked it with a fork and it went... And then I was like, there's no provenance for this video. Is this real? Is it fake? And I couldn't find out anything about the creatures, but this is them again, and I think now we have a name. It's eel gobies. So they have made their way into reality now. So that's why I sometimes show these videos that have no provenance and you're like very questionable, because it just seems like a lot of them show up later with an official name. I mean, if there really was anything that creepy, that should have been something we all creeped out about for... you know, our whole lives, but no. And at least if it showed up on Reddit, there should have been plenty of people saying, oh, those are eel gobies. But no, when it first shows up, nobody knows what it is. Oh, Eliza, you haven't seen it? Yeah, I have had it on that they gulp down rabbits before. And, you know, horses now eat, like, small rodents and stuff. There's all kinds of weird stuff like that in the timeline now. Deer snack on, like, corpses now. So yeah, there's been a lot of changes. All right, what else do I have? So that's kind of going through a bunch of my saved stuff. I have another question for you. No cheating now, just from memory, how many Mars rovers have gone down to Mars and like successfully landed and tootled around Mars according to official reality? How many do you remember having gone down there? All right. Meanwhile, let's see, what do we got? I still have some time. Somebody brought up Mars rovers on Redcon. They weren't specifically talking about this subject, but I did look it up, and so they kind of cued me that there's something strange, but I just had a different experience than them. But I did notice some changes in the storyline. Now, speaking of changes in the storyline, if you probably remember, about 10-ish years ago, they started saying that people were getting bit by the Lone Star tick, and the Lone Star tick was causing them to have red meat allergies. And that was a little before I knew about the Mandela, but I did find it suspicious once I learned about the Mandela, that, you know, it just, and then I think a few weeks ago, months ago, aroundish, I said, look, it's not just the Lone Star tick now, it's all these other ticks. Okay, and it's not just like the red meat allergy anymore now. That's what I find now. It's, so they call it alpha gal. Alpha gal. It's kind of a weird name, alpha gal allergy. But the storyline has changed. So I remember it being a red meat allergy, but now it's an allergy to alpha gal, which is an ingredient like what's in all meats. So if you get alpha gal syndrome, and it has a whole name now, if you get that, you could easily be allergic to all meats. It's not just red meat. And alpha gal stands for galactose A13 galactose, a sugar molecule found in most mammals. Alpha gal is not found in fish, reptiles, birds, or people. Okay, so you can still eat bird meat then. And reptile meat, like, yeah, I'd be eating that. Alpha gal can be found in meat. Pork, beef, rabbit, lamb, venison, etc., and products made from mammals, including gelatin, cow's milk, and milk products. So alpha gal allergy is also a dairy allergy and a gelatin allergy. That really adds it up. So it's like an, you know, you can only eat what? Fish and poultry. So it's kind of a red meat allergy, but it's not, because they didn't say, okay, it's rabbits and all this other stuff. And pork is the other white meat, so it's not a red meat. And so you get a life-threatening allergic reaction if you eat these. It's not mild. I don't remember it being life-threatening. AGS, alpha gal syndrome, symptoms occur after people eat red meat or are exposed to other products containing alpha gal. So it's not just meat you can't eat. So of course it's on the rise, blah, blah. It's associated with tick bites. Now this is interesting. It's associated with tick bites. Used to be caused by tick bites. Now it's associated. So it's not the only cause now. Primarily associated with the bite of a Lone Star tick, but other kinds of ticks have not been ruled out. More research is needed to understand the role ticks play and why certain people develop AGS. So it sounds to me like they're opening up the concept that it's not just ticks that cause it. You have to stop eating mammalian meat, beef, pork, lamb, venison, rabbit. And ingredients such as cow milk, protein, gelatin, Read food labels carefully. See, they didn't used to be like you had to read the food labels and stuff. Some people with AGS may react to ingredients in vaccines or medications. Let me just look at this list of ingredients. Allergy can be severe. Sweetbread scrapple. Gelatin, lard, tallow, or sweat. So all of the oils made from these animals. Meat broth, bouillon, stock, and gravy you can't eat. Let's see. Gelatin, glycerin, magnesium stearate, bovine extract. You can't have heparin. So yeah, it's much more serious in this time. I don't know, I was always told that pork is the other white meat, so it wasn't considered dark. I don't know. How do you even decide what to call stuff? So yeah, it's a legit thing now, at least according to science. Someone is dusting the one Mars rover that is still working up there. 3, so I say 6. You might have it about right. I thought only 2. Was there 3? I'm kind of like, I remember they put down 2, and the 2 went down at the same time, and then both of them worked way longer than they were supposed to, because the story was they thought that the solar panels will get all dusty, but somehow they didn't. And then they put down another one recently, and I'm like, when did that one get? Because it was like, I didn't hear about them putting it down, but there it was, and it's all huge. It looks like a beast. I'm like, how'd you get that thing? So I thought there was like 3, but pork is a dark meat. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It has alpha-galactosidase. I haven't even heard of a sugar in meat that you could be allergic to. You know, when that tick thing came out, it was like, for some mysterious reason, they became allergic to red meat. That was all it was. Now it's got a whole sugar allergy, blah, blah. I don't know. How does a tick cause you to be allergic to a sugar I never heard of in meat? Okay, so Mars rover. Let's do this one. Wiki. Okay, so there's been 6 of them little chickadees. I think this is the current one. Curiosity. It's huge. Mars rovers. So, there have been 6 successful robotically operated Mars rovers. The first 5 were... So I don't think I had Sojourner. I remember Spirit. I feel like we're in Curiosity, but I'm trying to think, like the names seem off or something. But it doesn't look like they put them down at the same time now, which is confusing me. Sojourner went down in 97. Spirit was 2004. Opportunity went... Oh, okay, Spirit and Opportunity. I think that's all I had, maybe Spirit and Opportunity. Those both went down in 2004. So that story looks about right. And Opportunity made it to 2018. They're still there, they're just not functioning. Curiosity is still down there. And so is Perseverance. I thought there was just 1, but now there's 2 replacements. I did not hear about China plopping one down. Zhurong, 2021 to present. So China has one. So there's been 6, and there's 3 that are operational. I thought there was just 1 left that was operational. I don't know. It's like, I never even heard of them, but they've been down for years is what keeps happening. You know, I look and there's more and more of them, and they were always down there. And there's an image of Zhurong. Sojourner, I've never seen. It just has a giant flat plate on the top. I think we had Sojourner on before, though. Now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. It just seems like there's too many of them. I'm looking in the kitchen because there was a weird noise in there. And nobody's in here. Not even the cat, theoretically. China has 7 on the dark side of the moon. Really? They have 7 rovers on the dark side of the moon? Seriously, I had no idea. Okay, so there's that. Tesla's egg alpha-gal. I think I'm almost done. 2 more. So I noticed some upgrades in giraffes. Because again, a video, I'm getting now whenever there's a weird viral video that hits Reddit, I'm checking to see what's weird about the animal. Like, because almost always it's kind of an advertisement for an upgrade on this creature. And what I've noticed now is, although the insides of giraffes' ears have been getting more interesting with like more white and more pattern, and it's even more extreme here, and the giraffes themselves have been splitting into different species. But now what I saw with the video is that these little boobas, at least one of the species, now has all her... That is not a very useful image at all. They have all white ears. Like the backs of them are white also. I probably should have saved that video, but... Wait. See if this one's big. So you can see now that the backs of the ears are white. The fronts of the ears are white, and the bases are white. So basically they have white ears now, these giraffes, and more white on the face. See, there's white coming down on the face. So they're getting white. See all this. So I don't know if we're going to get one that has a lot of white on it. It's working on it here. They looked very, I don't know, when I saw them in the video, I'm like, they just look very they look kind of angelic with their whiteness, and they just seem like they're pretty mellow now. So yeah, all white ears, a bunch of white on the face. The little tufts back here look like they've kind of grown a little. So yeah, they're looking cute. Jesus is now referred to as the Son of Man. Yeah, you're right. I kind of heard that lately, and now that I think about it, doesn't make any sense. The Son of Man. He was the Son of God. The Son of Man. Nelson of Mandela. I don't know. I don't know. I have not heard. Yeah, that is new. Son of Man. That's kind of a whole different shtick, isn't it? Jeffrey Giraffe is the Toys R Us mascot. Yeah, what does Jeffrey Giraffe look like now? It's a good question. He just looked like an ordinary giraffe. Is he still all orange and stuff? Images. All right. That's the image I remember here. It's pretty close anyway. I don't know if it's, I think these balls might be a little longer than I remember. I'm not sure on some of that, but maybe. I don't know if it's identical, but this is interesting. So a lot of white on this one. This is a Jeffrey Giraffe needle felted. So this is a recently created thing, so it's not really indicative of the original, I don't think. This is interesting here because there seems to be a lack of speckles on the face for Jeffrey. So yeah, it seems to be not. I mean, does that look right? There's no spots on the face. It should have spots on the face. So it kind of looks like the face spots are leaving town. I mean, that's a little more realistic there. Realistic. I don't know if I go that far, but yeah, the face spots seem to be leaving town on these giraffes. Yeah, look at that. I don't think I remember it like this. There was face spots. So yeah, face spots are going bye-bye. Do remember the big eyelashes. Yeah, Chick might want to just post like a little thing and say, okay, check out my videos over on Twitter or whatever. That would probably be good. Like I said, Twitter often won't run on here. Like I can usually go from a link to one Twitter video, but then if I try to click off of that one to somewhere else, it'll say, check your settings or something. And then if I try to like close that and go back to the link that and click on it again, the link from other source, I'll still get that same error for a long time. And then if I try the next day, it'll work again. So I don't know, and I can't log in or anything, so I don't know what the deal is. Now on my work computer, I can do it and get on Twitter. So maybe it's message from the universe to limit my Twitter perusals. Okay, so yes, I'm starting to get sleepy again. That stimulant did not last long. Eyes getting sleepy. Electric fans, giraffes. All right, one more, unless you guys come up with some. Just saw this today. This one's kind of weird. So do fish make cocoons so they could take a nap? Apparently they do now. Parrotfish. They make mucus cocoons for snoozing. Maybe I'll do a Google because they have better images. Oh, maybe if I could spell cocoons, that would help. Yoinks. Anybody heard of this? I mean, parrotfish, it's not like this is a new creature. But, so here they are. you loading? Ugh, my brain is starting to like get tired. Concentration, flagging. It's like, oh yeah, I have to click on the other window. All right, so here's this mucus cocoon that this parrotfish makes to take a nap. Parrotfish create a protective sleeping bag out of their own mucus and rest in it. Have you ever heard of such a thing? There's another one. No, I don't want to open links. See, my brain is getting stupid. I want to open image. Ah, so tiny. This is just weird. Well, anyway, you get the drift. It's creepy. All right, now I'm going to... I actually didn't... I just found this like right before the show. So let's go check what they have to say. Oh, yeah, it has special glands in the gills. They're common. And I know they eat algae and coral. They're beak-like mouths. We have some, like these orange ones that are around California. Mucus is excreted from glands within the parrotfish's gills and slowly emerges from the fish's mouth. The cocoon is transparent and encases the fish, providing it with additional protection. Now, I don't really get it because, like, if a shark is coming along, he doesn't really care if you have a mucus thing. Now, are they going to say down the line that it's poisonous or tastes bad or something? Because I don't see how this is really going to protect you that much from a large predator. The entire process takes upwards of an hour to complete. Helps mask the scent of the fish. Another advantage, the cocoon provides a barrier against parasitic isopods. Still seems like a lot of work. All right, there's a isopods called gnathids. Their larvae feed on the blood of fish and have been deemed the mosquitoes of the sea. I've never heard of that. So fish can't rest because there's mosquitoes of the sea. During the day, parrotfish are able to keep them at bay with the help of cleaner shrimp and fish such as wrasse. You can't do that when you're asleep. Unfortunately, once night falls, the cleaner fish retire for the night, and the parrotfish expels the mucus cocoon. The mucus cocoon essentially functions as a mosquito net, preventing the isopods from reaching the parrotfish. All right, so that's a new upgrade. We've got mosquitoes of the sea, but we have nets of mucus to keep them away. So upgrade in complexity, certainly. Cocaine shark? Cocaine shark. I've not heard of cocaine shark. 2 sorcerers executed for black magic in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea keeps changing itself. You know what to say on that. Cocaine shark. Cocaine sharks. What? Are the latest Shark Week BS? Shark Week tried to bogart cocaine bear successful with cocaine sharks. Shark Week took a stab at determining if there are cocaine jack sharks in the Florida Keys, but many viewers felt the experiment was just too much. Are sharks eating cocaine? All right, so some people are saying bologna, in other words. Others are saying, yes, it could happen. The latest nightmarish animal to make the headlines. Okay, so first of all, we just had a Mandela with the cocaine bears, right? Did we not? People remember that being old or newer or different, different they don't remember it happening the way the current story is. We just had that on like last week, so now we have cocaine sharks. So I don't know. I mean, all the animals love their drugs in this timeline. Dolphins chew on pufferfish to get high. All these different animals now have ways to get high. There's lots of new psychedelics that I feel are fairly new coming into the timeline. So I remember peyote only existing in those buttons that grew in the desert. And the story was, that all these people are getting too collection happy with the peyote and they're going extinct and you can't find them. And there used to be huge peyotes everywhere, but now you can only find small ones. And those evil humans killing the environment, right? So that was the story for quite some time. And then the last time I looked up peyote, they said you can also get it in this big cactus, and it was the San Pedro cactus. So it's the same, I think mescaline, I think it was. It's the same thing you get out of peyote. So you don't have to collect the little buttons anymore. You can grow this San Pedro cactus and you can get it out of there. It didn't look like it was that hard to get out. It was some kind of freezing, defrosting thing. I didn't really look into it, but I was completely laughing because I have a San Pedro cactus. I had no idea until this week that thing had any psychedelics in it. It's a cool columnar cactus. It grows really well around here. There's no shortages of it. There's no reason to hike out into the middle of the desert and die for tiny peyote buttons. When San Pedro cactus are totally legal, they're pretty fast growing. And again, the coincidences, the stories, so when the pandemic hit, there was like all of the exercise places closed down, no more pickleball. So I started walking around the neighborhood just for exercise so I wouldn't become completely useless. And as I was strolling through, there's like a lot of alleys in certain neighborhood here. It's not a real bad neighborhood. It's an old town neighborhood. And I was walking through the alleys because there's just neat stuff. I would go down alleys, streets. This one alley that wasn't far, it had a beautiful tall columnar cactus that was like, 12, 15 feet high, and it had pups. And I thought it was really cool because it has very few spines, and that's one thing I like about cactuses because then you don't poke yourself. So one day I was walking around the front and I saw the owner of that property on the porch, and so I asked him if I could give him a couple bucks in exchange for one of the pups. And he said, take it for free. So I did. And then I didn't even know what it was. I looked it up and it's the San Pedro cactus. And I'm like, well, cool. And I didn't see anything about them having any drugs in them. Like nothing. It just was a popular cactus with many different cultivars and looks. And that was it. But apparently now it has drugs in it. So there you go. Mescaline. So yeah, drugs everywhere. You can't escape it. None of the studies have tested the drug on sharks, so we don't know. The drugs are found in how many cocaine dumpings can you find? And then sharks are all, there's a strange packet of crap, I'll just eat it. All right, so cocaine sharks show that sharks did swim towards bales of fake cocaine. Of fake cocaine. And at least one hammerhead swimming different than normal. How now is that unusual? Could be a past injury. So it swam towards bales of fake cocaine. Oh no, we're not making any new water. The same water we've had for 1,000 years from now is the same water we had 1,000 years ago. You're using up all the water. Meth, often called methamphetamine, oftentimes called meth, causes addiction, behavior, alteration of brown trout. So are they going to get like all skinny and hyper? And their faces are going to cave in if they kill them. So what the story now is that the waters of Florida are going to make a bunch of meth head sharks. So, I guess we're going to see a bunch of weird behavior from animals and we're going to blame it on the meth. Is that the new story? I'm like, it gets weird. I'm like, who's writing these scripts? The cocoon versus the cocaine. Yeah, maybe the cocoon keeps the cocaine out, right? Yeah, there was a thing on sun bears, Eliza, recently that China denies that its sun bears are people in suits standing up. Let me see if I can. I've got like 12 minutes. That should be plenty of time. That was actually kind of funny. There's so many weird ones. Sometimes I just depends on my mood whether I say denies. We've had sun bears on before. I don't remember them existing way back. Sun bears. And I actually have had one on because they do kind of look like dudes in suits. Are humans in costume. Something. I'm trying to remember the headline's title, but earlier this week, a zoo in China denied rumors that one of its sun bears was a human in a suit. Now, more human-like bears are circulating. Let me see if I can find that one. So I looked at the video, and it does look like it. But I've said before, these effing sun bears look like dudes. They look like people in suits. So I'm not really shocked that this one came out. It is interesting that Reddit suddenly has it. Denies that sun bears are humans dressed in costumes. So there it is. It does look like a human with like low baggy pants. That could be a human. I mean, like I could see a human body in there, and then it looks like it has normal feet and stuff. Our bears are real. Now the head did move around very bear-like, okay, but the body, yes. Bizarre sighting led to accusations that it might actually be a zoo employee in disguise. They're just weird, these sun bears. I haven't actually looked at those in a while. I wonder how the necks are. So, yes, I've for some time now said they look like humans in suits. But they aren't the weirdest Mandela out there, and a lot of the other stuff cannot be described as humans in suits. Wow, I'm just looking at the throat because when they first came out, it was just kind of like a yellowish line like this on the neck, and it's been closing up, and I've had on that it's starting to look like a sun. I'm just seeing now that this one actually has 2 dots. Now that's a new one for me. There's a huge range now in these neck splotches, and this guy might even have a few splotches on the head. You see the snout is turning gold. So the shapes of these throat lozenge things are getting variant. Interesting, my brain has kind of made a recovery. I just went through like a bleep where I was like my still kind of suffering. My left brain was just not, it like shut down on me. I'm like, how do I operate the video? It's come back a little, but there's been a lot of these this week where you just like At least I can now operate somewhat here. Like, for instance, now I can click on this and remember to hit save, or no. As I said that. I can remember to hit, I'm lying. I guess I can't. Wait, why does it keep coming the same one? All right. All right, maybe I do suck. Open image, a new tab. I wanted to say I can remember to do that, but I guess I can't actually. Interesting. The feet look a little different than I recall too, but yeah, you can see here that one's kind of neat there. That one's looking very sun-like. All right, maybe I lied. Maybe my intellect is still toast. It's come back 10%, but I was exaggerating on how functional it had made it too. Yes, there is a moon bear. We've had those on. Let's check out the moon bears. Moon bears. See, they're not that different. They're like big. They have the slash too. I think I saw sun bears first before I saw moon bears. But they originally both had kind of the same look to them. But sun bears were there first, and then there was moon bears. And now we have like these golden moon bears that they look like giant lions. The slash has gotten bigger. They've gotten bigger. So I just put in moon bear, but look, there's multiple of these golden moon bears now. So the moon bears look like lions, which is weird. Oh, this one has speckles. They kind of look like giant dogs. They're kind of awesome. These have been slowly changing. Look at that. They're cute. Look at the size of those ears. They're like lion dogs or something. So yeah, cute new creatures. These aren't new, but I don't know what's this Lionsgate thing. Lionsgate energy. I'm not sure what that is actually. Lionsgate energy. I've never heard of it until you just said it. Lionsgate portal. It is a relatively new energetic phenomena born in recent years. Combination of ancient astrology, cosmology, and numerology, all channeling a very specific celestial alignment culminating annually on August 8th. I've never heard of this thing. It gets more, I mean, like, I'm glad I'm not into astrology and stuff because it's so complicated right now. It's like, it used to be much simpler. Born in recent years. I've literally never heard of it. So now there's always something special on August 8th. July 28th to August 8th. The Lionsgate portal officially opened on July 28th when the opportunity bringing new moon was in magnetic Leo. This year the portal will close on August 9. Did I say it opened July 28th to August 9? On this event, it is strongly aligned to numerology in the angel number 88. Despite the Lionsgate portal being a new agey creation, it's not widely admitted in today's astrology. Interestingly, the portal's concession is predicated on ancient Egyptian cosmology. Energy of the stars by noticing when they became visible in the sky, the planets they meant. The planets weren't visible in the sky for me originally, so that's just another new thing. We're seeing more and more planets. Ancient Egyptians knew the fixed star Sirius extremely well and based a lot of their ceremonies and lifestyles around the time Sirius became visible. Narayana also notes that the Lionsgate portal opens when the constellation of Orion is aligned with pyramids of Giza. All right, I don't see how that has to do with the planets, though. Okay, so I don't know. More new stuff. I mean, like every year there's like, this special new significance thing coming up in like 5 minutes. So here we go. There's another one. I live in Sedona. People take the Lionsgate really seriously. I have freaking never even heard of the Lionsgate until now. They say there are major energies coming from this portal this time, and it makes huge changes. Okay, I don't know. It definitely feels weird lately. I kind of had recovered my brain power to some extent, but I feel like I've definitely backtracked this last week. So I'm like hoping to get it back anyway. I don't want to have to. I mean, it sounds bad, but I don't want to have to live like this long term. I'm like, give me my brain back. I need it for things. And I'm not getting, I don't feel like I'm getting a payback. So, you know, give me back my brain. Hopefully I can adapt and then my brain will work. All right, so we're just about done. I think everybody has gotten their Mandelas in for this week. Thank you to Andon for the super chats. Appreciate it very much. Oh, somebody's parents had the antique fan. See, maybe I'm just sliding into this timeline now because a bunch of you are like, oh, this old stuff. And I often feel like that, you know? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know many people who are quite as shifty as I am. And the ones that are now are still shifty, but their paths are totally different than mine. Like those ones, when we started out, we came from a similar place, but now the version of them that's here did not come from the same place as me. So we don't even share that. Even though they're highly shifty, that version is not the version I originally remember. So it does get a little lonely sometimes. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming as usual. And remember, the IMET conference is coming up in about a month in Connecticut. And I've heard that they've already sold a fair number of tickets, so it shouldn't be overly lonely over there. And so if you have the money and the time, it would probably be fun for you to go down there. And that's it for me then. Thanks all. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.